Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome back to Naylo's Thrift Talk. I'm Lola.
And I'm Nay.
And today we have our second part of a two-part episode, which we are calling Show Us Your Duds. A bunch of you sent us your old listings on eBay. Today we have a couple Mercari, right?
Yes.
Etsy, so different platforms.
Poshmark listing.
Yeah, we're going to go through and give you guys some feedback. And if you're in the chat live or if you're watching this later and you have feedback for any of the listings, you are also welcome to chime in and give us your thoughts on how we can get some of these listings sold. Anything to add, Nay?
No, I think that's a great synopsis.
And if you did miss last week, we had a great episode last week, I think. So some really interesting items, some, lots of different tips that we pointed out that if you are watching and have a similar item, you might get some ideas from.
And we do have a giveaway that we'll do in a little bit. I guess we can do that during the housekeeping stuff, Lola.
Yeah,
okay.
Good idea.
So those of you who were in the watched last week, and if you commented on our video, we had about 6 of you in the running. So there was a specific phrase. Our friend Jason was donated a Denizen mug, and it said if you said I love Denizen on our YouTube video, you were entered into our running. So we have 6 entrants. So if you aren't watching, but you did enter, we will track you down. So don't worry if you're not watching live. But okay, so our first segment is what thrifted items are Nay and Lola wearing? So Lola, what are you wearing today?
Okay, so I'm wearing a very fun dress. It is a little small on me, so I actually have it like, let's see, whoops, just around. I have it just like pinned in the back, so I would not wear this outside, but I figured for YouTube it works fine. And I think this is from Thrift to You.
Okay.
So it's like super cottagecore. It's 90s rayon, and it has this amazing ruffle. I noticed as I put it on that it needs to be like steamed out a little bit so it sits right, but I'll do that before I list it. And it is like really nice long maxi. It has some beautiful panels that kind of make the skirt flare out. So I'm a little sad it doesn't fit me just right, but I'll enjoy it for now and then get it listed.
So cute and so cottagecore.
Yeah, super cottagecore. And then I just threw on a red scarf. I think I've worn this one before.
It's cute.
I've had this for ages. I bought it at a vintage store in LA like a million years ago. So
your glasses are adorable too.
My glasses are new. They are not thrifted. I did buy them new.
They look very vintage. They have a vintage vibe.
Yeah, they're very 70s. Yeah. I'm so thankful for them because I finally got, after, pre-pandemic was the last time I got my eyes checked and my prescription had changed quite a bit so I can see again, which is awesome.
That's a bonus. It's always good to see.
And what are you wearing, Nay?
So I have on, and I did tease this on Instagram, if any of you saw it. So my shirt it's such a silly shirt. And I was going through my drawers like recently and cleaning them out. And I was totally forgot I thrifted this. And under one of the arms, it still has the barb. I left it on because it still has a red barb on it. I was like, oh, that's perfect. But I don't think I've washed it, but I haven't worn it. And it was like one of those ridiculous shirts. I think I probably got it like on a sale day for $1. And it's just like one of those corny shirts. But it says, if I could give up coffee, but I'm not a quitter.
That's adorable.
So that is my shirt for today. And it is such a lie because I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to give up coffee because I have my Starbucks here. So, and then my headband was in one of those wall bags a while back from, gosh, I forget where it was. I forget what store it was at, but I know I remember it was a long time ago. So that's like one of my, and then
cute.
My earrings are also thrifted. They are nothing like, I think I might have got them at like Philly AIDS Thrift or something a while ago. They're not real sterling or anything. They're just like costume, but I like them.
Cute. And it's so funny. I see the dress on your mannequin because I was debating between wearing what I'm wearing and wearing a very 60s dress that looks almost the same in terms of cut, different color, but like the silhouette's the same.
Well, I haven't removed that in my mannequin since we did our mid-century show. So that's
still is that the same? Okay.
Same dress, but I was like, I'll leave her in the
background. Super cute.
Yeah. So that is my outfit. And we have our thrifted home decor segment. Do you have something for this week, Lola?
I do.
Okay.
Oops, I always pick the wrong one. Okay, so I am currently working on weeding out my book collection, and I've been like cataloging all of them. Anything I'm getting rid of, I've been scanning, seeing if it's worth listing. And so I thought I would share part of my collection that's more decor, because these are books that I don't really read because they're so fragile, but I collect these vintage penguin books. And this is just a fraction of my collection. These are some of the older ones that I think, are just the most beautiful. So they have the classic striped orange and cream color. And the penguin on him is so cute. He dances around.
So cute.
And then I have a few of these are the pelicans. So they have the blue covers instead of the orange, but they're kind of hard to find in the US because they were published for the UK market, and I don't think they were ever sold here. But I do have, like, this one has the Brattle Bookshop.
That's so neat.
So I found this one in Boston.
Yeah.
And I think I found one of these at have you ever been to Mostly Books in Philly? It's
I've heard. Is that the one on where is that? Because
it's just off of South Street. It's like right like a block or two.
Yeah, I've been to that one. Yeah.
But it's one of those places that's just like a jumble of everything. You never know what you're gonna find.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't add to my collection that much anymore because I don't get back to the UK like I used to. But whenever I do find these, I get really excited, and pretty much any condition I'll pick them up just because they're so fun to find.
Very fun.
Mm-hmm. So. Yes, Heather, that was actually the book that I most recently found. I found it here in a bookshop near where I live, and it's a book on witchcraft, a critical study of the belief in witchcraft from the records of witch hunting in Europe yesterday and Africa today.
Wow.
Yeah, I have not read it because they're so fragile.
They have a definite charm factor to them.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. So, coincidentally, Lola.
No way.
Oh, I wanted to go. Well, that's okay. This is what I have. I wanted to show it first, but
shoot, sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We both have books today.
Yes, coincidentally. So I have these. These are Health and Knowledge. So these are actually not thrifted. So after my dad passed away, we had to crack the safe to get some important papers out for his military discharge and all, so that we could have like an actual honorable, military funeral for him and whatnot. So when I was in the safe, I found these tucked away. So these were my grandmother's, my father's mother's books, and they are from, what's the date? They're from 1919.
Wow.
That's the
beautiful. Those illustrations are incredible. They're so
they're really pretty. There's a set of them. I have volume 1 and volume 2 here. I have 2 of them. I will not sell these because
of course,
they're grandmothers, and they're in great condition. They're a little musty from being in the safe in the basement for all these years, but they are in great condition. They were taken care of. And obviously the fact that my dad put them in there and they were my grandmother's means that they meant something to him. So again, I will not be selling them, but I did find a comp on them, which.
So now I'll pull that up now.
So that I did find, and I found a couple like for sale, like individual ones going for like 25, 30 a piece. So a set of them, the same set that I have in about the same condition, sold for $49 plus shipping. So if I were to sell them, I probably could get about $50. But again, I am not going to sell them. So, Okay, this is 1931, I think.
Oh, so you have an earlier edition, so it might be worth a little bit
Okay, no, these are 19. Mine are 31 too. This is
okay.
1919, and then the second copyright is 31. So this is actually the same set. So, so these are from actually 31. Not there's a 19. There's 2 copyright dates. So this is the same set as mine. So there you go. But I'm not going to sell them. I was just curious, for.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I just like to know what it is, and like, I don't know, just research everything I have just to know. And then if I see it in the store again and I see another one, then, Yeah.
And again, not thrifted, but still very old, vintage, and something that you could find in a thrift store.
Exactly.
But, I thought I'd show something that had a little sentimental value. So for this segment this week, this is my listing, and I'm surprised. So what I sold was a freebie that came in a Goodwill blue box, and I was like, I don't even know exactly what it was. I was like, what is this? And I was like, I'll just put it up there anyway, and it sold for $10.
Nice.
So, yeah. So
I would not have guessed that was a $10 item. I'd have guessed 3 or 4, maybe.
I mean, I did do free shipping, so I had to eat, a few dollars for the shipping there, and then, so I made, but still, it was a free item that came in the blue box. It was just randomly in one of the blue boxes, and again, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, I'll just put it up there, and somebody bought it this week for $10. So you never know.
Yeah.
And I guess should we do our drawing now?
Sure.
Okay. So here are our names. Okay.
Oh no, oh good. Okay.
It's going. I think I have to click on it to spin it. So I have everybody's name in there. There are 6 people that commented. I love Den of Sin. Okay.
Cool, Rebecca, congratulations.
Yes. So Rebecca, we will. If you are watching this now or after the fact, please email us at nalothrifts@gmail.com so that we can coordinate getting your Den of Sin glass to you. And if not, we will track you down. So
we will find you.
We will find you. So congratulations, Rebecca Walton. And
thanks again to Jason for surprising us with that prize.
Yeah, absolutely. That was so nice of him. And I see that Heather in the chat got her prize from Jason. So very cool. I want to know what was inside, Heather. I never did find out what was in there.
Oh, yeah. Heather, let us know in the chat. I know you're here.
Yeah. So next week, this idea came to me because I have the first 2 events in a long time. So this weekend, tomorrow, I am going to New York City for a very dear college friend's birthday dinner at a very fancy restaurant. So, and it's like really the first indoor dining experience I've had in 18 months. So, and I need a dress for it. And then next weekend, I am going to a family wedding. And so I also needed a dress. So what did I do? I was like, I decided to thrift most or everything that I'm wearing. And did we not have Lisa in there?
I'm so sorry, Lisa. I just saw that. She said in the chat that.
I think her name was in there, wasn't it?
No. Oh no. Did you miss?
Oh no. So sorry.
I'm so sorry, Lisa. We'll get you. We'll get you a prize. I'm sorry. I'm
sorry. I did it late last night, and I'm sorry if I missed the name. Okay. Well,
we'll make it up to you somehow. We'll think.
Yeah, we'll make it up to you. So sorry. I did not mean to leave anyone out. I did it like really late last night, and I'm so sorry. Okay. So, anyway, so I came up with, so I said to Lola, I said, well, why don't we talk about like thrifting your items for a special occasion or something? And then she was like, why don't we just do a show about thrifting your own wardrobe? Because we never talk about thrifting for ourselves. So, which is true. I mean, we talk about it in the flow of things. We've never done an actual show about specifically thrifting your own clothing, thrifting for yourself. So we're gonna give you 10 tips for thrifting your own wardrobe. So some of the things that have worked for us, and maybe some things that you haven't thought of. And you can get a great wardrobe. I'm going to the wedding with, looking like I bought everything in Macy's or Saks or something, and I didn't. Most of my items that I'm wearing were from a thrift store. So. Okay, so
That'll be fun.
Yeah, so we'll get right into our main topic now. Okay, so this first listing was sent to me by Dave Dexter, and it is a Mercari listing. Yay! So he said, since we know fabric, he was curious if we had any help for him because he cannot sell this fabric. So one thing I will say is it's a good time of year right now. He's got that going for sure. So if you look at his notes here, he has the measurements approximately 132 inches by 44 inches. Now, I'm not great at math. So, and fabric crafters look for fabric by the yard. So the first thing is you need to translate that to yards. So the width is 44 inches and the yardage is whatever 132 is by
like about 3.5 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have not watched our episode on fabric, definitely go back and watch that because we do go into some of these. I noticed that there are common problems that we've seen on multiple listings of fabric. So you definitely want to have it by the yardage and not by inches because people who use fabric who sew think in terms of yards. So the concept of 132 inches, I think it's lost that this is actually like a really nice amount of yardage. And the price is... It might be a little high, but it's not out of, the realm of appropriate pricing. But it's hard to understand that this is a significant amount of fabric for that price. And the other thing that I think is really important here is to know what the fabric's going to be used for, because that will most likely be the keyword that is going to help bring this item up. So this is quilting cotton, which you can tell by the fact. Nate, do you mind going over to the?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to get the get it zoomed back down. There we go. Okay.
If you go down to one of the later photos.
Oh, okay. In the photos. Okay.
Yeah. So you can tell about a couple things. A, that it's a novelty print. So usually novelty prints are going to be a quilting cotton. And then there's one of the backside of the fabric.
Yeah, there you go.
So the fact that it's printed on one side, this is another, not only quilting cottons are like this, but you can see the weave. It's a stiff weave and it's only meant to be seen on one side. This is a good rule of thumb that this is going to be a quilting cotton. So you want to definitely have that in your title because what people will be searching for is probably Halloween quilting cotton. This year, especially, quilting cotton is the right fabric to use for masks. So this might be a fabric that someone's looking for to make masks for their kids for school, for trick-or-treating, just because they love the holiday. So I would almost suggest maybe thinking about selling this by the yard instead of as one whole cut, because this is a lot of fabric for masks, but someone might be looking for just a small amount of it so that they can make a few masks for their kids.
Yeah, possibly.
Really fun fabric. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a suggestion. I mean, I think if he is selling it as one piece, I think his price is okay.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that also you want to pad in for offers and,
Right, exactly. And dropping it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say if you're going to keep it as one piece, keep it at that price. If not, you could probably do like, $12 a yard or so.
Quilting cotton's generally going to be on the cheaper end. So I would say it's going to be maybe like a fat quarter might be $3 to $4. A full yard might be $8 to $10.
Yeah. I'm just
look up comps because, it may be that Halloween vintage cotton is really sought after right now, but it's definitely going to be on the lower end of fabric in general.
If it was mine, I'd probably keep it as one piece, but I do see, your point of,
it's just a thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
I normally do sell fabric in one piece instead of by the yard. I've talked about that before. That's generally my own personal preference. But this is one instance where I would definitely, if it were me, I would consider doing it by the yard just because I know that people are making Halloween masks this year. So,
go ahead.
Sorry. And then the other thing is for the title, I think the brand is not necessarily like a super sought after one. So I might remove that and then focus on different keywords like haunted house, trick-or-treater, Halloween quilting cotton definitely is a phrase you should have.
Yeah, witches? I don't see. I see a bat retreaters and haunted house in the description, but I don't see a mention of witches anywhere. And there are people that specifically collect witches. So
yeah, that's true.
So I would put witch in the title too. But I think the photos are good. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, the photos are great. Yeah, the photos are really nice and clear.
I think the biggest thing too, I know Jess said, I don't know if Jess is in the chat today, but I did notice she posted in the thrifting board or the Secret Beach the other day about the fact that Mercari allows 80 characters now. That's a recent change, and Poshmark just followed suit. So I will say, yeah. So I will say that this might have been listed earlier, but you have more characters for sure to use. You don't have as many as eBay, but you do have more to use. And I would take up all the real estate you can, and definitely put the yardage in the title, because that is hard. Like, I don't like, that was my thing. Like, I was like, how much is there? Because I'm not, people that are not math wizards, like I'm not, they have to do the math and figure out, well, how much is there, and they're just going to pass it over. So
yeah, if you're skimming through a bunch of listings and deciding which one's best for what project you have in mind, you might not stop and do the math. So definitely do it for your buyer.
Okay, so
but yeah, I mean, I think with a few changes, this should sell soon. So
yeah, I think
definitely like change it up as soon as possible, because now is when people are looking for fabric to craft for Halloween. Halloween's right around the corner.
Exactly. Lisa says they had orange and black too. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Okay, so actually, speaking of Lisa, her listing is next. So
perfect.
Yes. So we have this Charlotte Bige, redhead koi girl figurine dolls dealer plaque collector sign Gobo Hummel. So pictures are fantastic.
Really good, clear, nice subtle background.
I mean, that black background is perfect. I mean, it would have been lost on a light background, but it really shows up well. Your pictures are absolutely phenomenal. So, and this is an Etsy listing. So she said that it was listed for about 5.5 years. So that's quite a while. So I would say, I don't know about, I'm not really versed in Hummel. I'm going to assume that Lisa did her research and that the price is on par. I don't know if you've tried reducing the price a little to get it moved out. You might want to consider that. But I think our main suggestion was to try cross-listing it to eBay. I know that, Lisa, I know you're in Canada, so you can't try Mercari. But if there's any other avenues, other platforms that you can try, I would definitely try it out on eBay. Okay, you dropped the price. Wow. Okay. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah, this just seems like one of those items where you're looking for a really specific buyer. And honestly, everything about this listing is great. I couldn't really find anything that I would do differently. Like, your keywords are great, your title is great, your photos are amazing. So it's just about maybe visibility, and that might be, where cross-listing it on a couple platforms helps. But yeah, this was one of those that kind of stumped us, because
I know it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And you have, let me go down to her description here. Yeah, so I mean, you have the measurements, the all the information about the condition of it.
Super clear, like it's written very clearly. It has all the information you could possibly need as a buyer.
Yeah. So I would try, Lisa, and you can try Poshmark too now, because we do have Home Store and Posh. There might be somebody that collects Hummels that only shops on Poshmark. You never know. So I would try. I think that's what I would do is just try some different platforms, because your listing and your photos are great. So, all right.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Looking at, there's a Hummel Facebook group, or on another social media platform to see if you can connect with collectors there. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, because sometimes it's specialized. Like I'm now in a Gunny Sacks group, and boy, are those buyers they are some serious buyers. They don't mess around with their Gunny Sacks, and people will find something at the thrift store and bam, it's sold within minutes sometimes, so for a lot too, because so you never know. Yeah. And there seems to be a Facebook group for everything.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Okay, so this is Lori. So Lori, I have a couple of Lori's listings here. It was Lori's idea Lori gave us the idea. So we appreciate this wonderful suggestion for a topic. So I am showing a couple of Lori's listings today. And this one is, Lori's photos are really good. I like, she drops the background out. And she does have the Sizely, the measurement in the listing. In the photos. However, I know like Lola said last week, that can be a little tough to see on mobile sometimes. So,
yeah. So, it's great to have. I just make sure you also have it written out in text in the description.
Yes. So I'm going down to the item specifics. I do notice that outer shell material says leather here in the item specifics. That might be left over from a sell similar, but from what I see here, it is not actually leather. I believe it's faux.
It's probably left over from a sell similar.
Yeah. So.
And I think it also said cotton one place, and it's polyester on the tags. I would just go through and double check that you have it.
Tag here.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see the fiber content tag.
It's on the last photo, I think.
Here it is. Okay. Polyester.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So it's all polyester. The lining and the shell are all polyester. So that might get you an item not as described, or somebody that's looking for leather. They do a search for leather jacket, and then they find that they're gonna be like, oh, that's not what I'm looking for. So I would take that out of your. And yeah, I see lining material is cotton there, so you're gonna want to change that too. So just make sure that you fix those. Everything is polyester. It's a medium. I think everything else is okay. I think this might be vintage, like early 2000s.
Yeah, you might use Y2K.
That's what I'm thinking.
This is definitely, it could be a depop item. It's not as distinctive as like a 90s Y2K item, but it is that kind of vibe. It's very like normcore. That actually is a good keyword too. The other thing I thought of is just because it's a black item, it's harder to get an idea of the shape in the photos. This might be a good item to have on like a mannequin. It might even be worth getting like a cheap plastic shell, like torso shell, just to give it a little bit of shape. And then, then you have it for the future if you don't already own one.
Again, she doesn't have the measurements in the description. She has the photo, which is fantastic. But again, when you're looking on mobile, it's going to be a little bit harder to see that. And
you just have to flip back and forth. So just make it easy for your buyer to figure out if it's the right item for them. I just put the information both places.
Yeah, I know it's a little redundant, and I love that you have this, but it's really helpful. But again, I would just always put it in the description as well.
Yeah. And then the only other thing that jumped out at me is that the cost of shipping is high. And we mentioned this on the last episode too, where, coats are bulky. They're going to be expensive to ship, but it could be something that, is a deal breaker for the buyer. So you might consider adding it into the price or just swallowing half the price. So like for me, it said it was going to cost, I think like $12 to ship this item to me. You could just know you're going to swallow half of that and charge $6 or $8 or something to your buyer. And that might help. We both clicked at the same time. Is 2000 vintage for clothing? Vintage is 20 years old. So unfortunately, yes. People do fudge it a little bit. So right now, the early 2000s are back, and that goes up to styles that were popular in like 2004-ish. So 2004, technically not vintage, but it is really popular right now, especially among Gen Z. So I think you can fudge that a little bit, and it doesn't have to be exactly 20 years old to call it like Y2K vintage.
Especially when you're on Depop, the hashtag Y2K is super popular. 2000s, 90s, Y2K fashion is super, super sought out right now. So
yeah, I think this is sort of a disconnect because like vintage purists are going to roll their eyes and be like, it's not really vintage. Buyers who are looking for these items are going to consider them vintage,
Yeah.
because the buyers right now who are driving the Y2K styles being back weren't around. They weren't born yet.
Yeah, to them it's old. Like to them, 20
Yeah.
years is really old because that's probably as old or older than a lot of them. So yeah.
Right. Right. So I think it's a disservice if you're a vintage seller to be stuck on like, oh, that's not really vintage. That's not old enough yet, because you're missing out on, you know, a lot of potential buyers, and you're also kind of insulting their taste, which isn't a cool thing to do. So, I mean, I'm definitely not super excited about low waist jeans being back, but if someone wants to buy a pair from me, like by all means, you know. So I won't wear them myself because I looked horrible in them the first time around. But, you know, if anyone looks great in them, like awesome for them.
And it is legit vintage. 20 years old. So 2001 and older is legit vintage. So yeah, I know it seems crazy to us, but us old folk, but okay. So this is also Lori's listing. So this is a gorgeous wallet. It is vintage. It's got that basket weave. You see the stamp on the leather there. So yeah, so we do have some suggestions. Yeah. Okay. And then let's look at her description down here. Okay. All right. So I think, let's see. The tone and trim, I think, can be taken out because they're not really words that you're going to search for. Those are in the title.
I would put gold tone just to differentiate it from being actual like 24 karat gold. I mean, I think it's clear that it's not when it's, you know, metal findings, but that, you know, just in case.
But the word trim, I think, can be taken out.
Yeah.
Maybe add something like that is a kiss lock. It's not like usually they stand up straighter, but that is a type of kiss lock. So you can add that to it. Lola, you suggested card slot clamshell.
Yeah, so I thought the card slots were a really nice feature, but you don't know that until you get to that photo. So that might be a keyword for the title. I mean, it's just a really nice function. If you're using this as a clutch, you know, you don't have to worry about where your cards are gonna like end up, get lost. Might almost do like a collage of the, you know, the closed and open in the first photo. It might be a little hard because it's a black item again, so it's harder to see the detail just at a glance, but it's just such a nice, beautiful and functional item. I'm trying to think of ways that you can kind of introduce that earlier without having to go through all the photos.
Yeah,
I would definitely add like 80s. I'm pretty sure it's 80s.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, that it looks very 80s. So. And that's also something you might want to try crossing it on Depop or Etsy because it does have that cool vintage vibe, and I would use the 80s keyword, vintage 80s.
Yeah. And then I noticed, and this is more nitpicky, but you use phrases like appears to have never been used a couple times. And when I was looking at it on mobile, it actually came up twice in the mobile preview. So it, you know, I really don't understand how eBay chooses what they give you as the preview. I have not figured out a rhyme or reason to it, but it used up a lot of the real estate because it came up twice. And in general, I try to avoid descriptions that are sort of like a judgment call on your part and try to focus on a description of what it looks like a little bit more objectively. So I would maybe just say pristine instead of appears to have never been used, because you don't know that for sure. But if it's pristine, it is definitely in pristine condition. So that's right. The descriptive word.
Right. And I think you also said that maybe bump the price down just a little bit since it's not like a really well-known brand.
Yeah, the other comps, or not comps, but suggested items that eBay was showing me that were similar in design were like Michael Kors. They were more contemporary and recognizable names. So, you know, it's a little bit of a different buyer that's going to look at Michael Kors versus a vintage clutch like this. But since it's not the same kind of level of like name recognition, I might personally, like if I were looking for an item like this, I would probably be thinking more about like $35 range. So maybe I'd make that offer on a $45 item, but you might just want to lower it a tiny bit.
And I did get an offer.
Mm-hmm.
Good job at sending out offers, Lori. So I did get an offer on this because I was looking at it. So the total would have been $43.99, but still, I think you could go a little bit lower on the offers if you're going to offer, or bump the price down a little bit and give a comparable percentage off.
But yeah, it's a beautiful item. So I think, I am thinking if I have an excuse to carry it because it's just so pretty. Yeah.
I do want to say real quick.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Heather.
Yes, I see that it's Heather's birthday today. So thank you for watching us on your birthday.
Thanks for celebrating with us.
And we do have a couple of your listings to show too, Heather. So so I hope you have a great birthday. All right, so these are True Religion World Tour skinny jeans, men's size. This is also Lori's listing, 28.5-inch inseam, which is short for kind of a little bit short for men's jeans too.
Yeah, so I did double check if these were men's or women's because 32 is sort of the size that can kind of go either way. Okay. I do think they are men's because I looked at a few other men's listings.
Okay.
And the tags look the same. And the men's jeans tended to have the more subtle horseshoe on the pockets. So I think that might also indicate that they're men's. But they are on the small side, so that's going to make it a little bit of a harder sell.
I think you might want to lower your price a bit because I think it's going to be a tough sell. And True Religion jeans have kind of lost their momentum a bit as a brand. Yeah. You might want to try Poshmark too, because it is a big brand and big brands do well on Poshmark.
Yeah. So I looked up the recent solds on Poshmark and there were a whole bunch of True Religion men's jeans, but most of them were right around $35 at the sold price. A couple were higher, and it was interesting. They were all darker wash and had contrast stitching. So that seems to be what people are looking for, which is unfortunately not this item.
Well, one thing too, and I think, and skinny jeans as a whole have gone out of style, especially I guess for men too. Mm-hmm. One thing that I'm trying to get to the other pictures here. One thing that I did notice was that on the interior tag, the wash says, I can get to that photo. There's the measurements. It says indigo. And if you look at indigo, she has light wash in the title, but indigo is really not a light wash. I think these are more of like a medium wash, almost, Well,
that's what, it's weird to me because indigo, I would think of if they're using it as a name, it's going to be a dark wash, but I would call this a light wash.
You think so?
Especially with all the whiskering. Yeah, this is pretty light denim.
I don't see denim as like all over like the light part. Like I think it's more of a medium. I don't see it as a light wash really. Like when I look at them, I don't. But.
Okay, yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yeah, you might call this medium. Indigo is always used to
put indigo in the title. Get rid of light wash, and put indigo because that is the name. And somebody that's searching for True Religion might be looking for that wash.
Yeah,
but yeah. I think we're being a little nitpicky, probably.
Right. And of course, it's we're just trying to find anything you can do to brush up these listings a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But I think she's got great item specifics filled out. Now, she has a 29-inch inseam in the item specifics. I know that's, again, nitpicky. She's got 28.5 inch in the title.
Yeah, make sure it's consistent.
Which is it? Because a half an inch is going to make a difference. So,
a couple people in the chat are asking what whiskering is. Nate, do you mind going back up to maybe pull up the photo? So, whiskering is here where those little lines are. Yeah. That it's like an intentional distressing, and it's pretty common on jeans like this that have sort of that like texture to it with the dye. So it's a good keyword.
Very good. So I think your listing is good. I think maybe it's just a matter of price and try it on Poshmark. You've got, and again, I'd put those measurements in you do have it in the item specifics, but I would put it in the description too.
Well, it is, the two major ones are also in the title, so that does help here.
So it's not, so it's not a deal breaker. I would also put the rise on these too. I don't know if you have title anywhere, not in the title, but I don't know if, let's see, rise. Yeah, it's mid 12 to 10 to 12 inches. It's probably in the photo, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. But you might put mid-rise in the title.
Yeah, she's got it in 21. It's like 21 inches, 10 inches there. Yeah, looks like it's 10 inches. Yeah, so I would put that in somewhere too. Like to, again, on mobile, it's harder to see this, but I do love your graphic. So
yeah, definitely.
All right. So yeah, I think it's mostly about price, finding the right size buyer, and maybe putting it on Poshmark. So
yeah, and for this smaller sizes, I think again it's just a matter of finding the right buyer. So it does take a little bit of patience.
Yeah. This is Heather's listing. She also gave me a clothing listing, but she gave me this last week, and I wasn't going to show it, but we didn't. But I decided, to go ahead because I had some comments for her. So. So this is a Hot Wheels spinner car case, and it is called a Hot Wheels. That's the actual name of the car case. That's where the spinner comes from. So I would say add in carrier to it.
Yeah, good one.
You don't need the word holds if you need to take out a keyword, because no one's going to be searching for that necessarily. I would add the dimensions to it. I think that the shipping is a bit high. So it's showing up as 18 shipping, which I get it. It's dimensional weight. So it's probably going to be about that to ship. But buyers don't know. Some buyers have no concept of what it actually costs to ship items. So they might think that's a little high. So you might be able to bump up the price a little and maybe split the shipping a little bit.
Yeah, and when I was looking at this item, eBay suggested other listings to me that were the same item, and the price was about the same, but the shipping was about $11 instead of $18. So it was a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
So I would definitely, consider eating that cost a little bit. Might, double check how much it's actually going to cost you to ship something, weigh it, add in a buffer for the shipping materials, and then figure out how you can factor part of that cost into your price.
Yeah. Are there any scuffs, or it says there's some wear and tear in the front as shown. So I would put that in the notes there, or instead of just saying there.
Yeah. And definitely update that seller notes, because on mobile for me, that's all that came up on the description. So it just said nice as the description for the mobile listing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the price might be a little high, especially with the high shipping.
Yeah. You might want to try selling it local too. I mean, then you don't have to worry about shipping. So you can try Facebook Marketplace for that. But I think it's just one of those items that's going to be a little tougher to sell. I mean, your pictures are good. I don't see anything wrong with your photos.
Yeah. Brian suggests maybe a plain white background that could help, although I think it's, it's neutral enough.
Yeah. So good luck with that one. And then Heather has a clothing listing here. So this is
so cool.
Gosh, we both, I knew you were going to love this too. So I do think that your photos, I think it might be better on a mannequin with just a plain background. Like you can't really see the whole front of it. This one is blurry, the second picture that you have of the whole front of it. And the green looks like a different color in that one. So you have lighting. So I would retake your main picture, and this maybe, really all you need is one on a mannequin of the whole front, and then maybe some close-ups. Make sure it's all in the same lighting. Let's see. So it's made in Finland. It's really cool. So you have the measurements there with the measuring tape, which is fine.
Heather says she doesn't have a mannequin. So, I mean, in that case, I would either look into getting a cheap one, or just making sure that you have it laid out, like do a flat lay on a plain sheet or just a plain background, because the first one, the first photo, like you do have some stuff in the background. It makes it a little bit harder to focus on the item, especially because it's already a bright, busy item. You want it to have a very clean background. And then you also don't have the whole sleeves in it. So I would make sure you have, the whole item in your photo.
There's also no photo of the back. I don't know what the back looks like. Does it have any appliques or embroidery on it? Is it plain? I have no idea because there's no photo of the back. So I would definitely get a photo of the back of it too. So I think, you have good dirt on the upper back right shoulder is pictured. I did not try to clean it. You might be able to get those spots out though, but that's fine. If you don't want to try.
I mean, it's an expensive item. It might be worth trying to. It should be easy to hand wash. Okay, so I just noticed you do have the fabric type as terry in the.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Because I was having a hard time telling from the photo what the texture was.
It looks more like some kind of a knit, almost like a chenille.
Thick weave. Yeah, I was trying to tell it because chenille, terry, or sort of a rough kind of linen cotton.
Yeah, it doesn't look like straight cotton to me though, but it's hard to tell. So, let's see what else here.
Oh, Heather, you have another one you're keeping? Yes, please send us a photo. Yeah, and Chris says half mannequins aren't that expensive. Yeah, I think it's definitely a good investment. I do tend to take more flat lays, but every now and then you have an item that's just going to get shown off a little bit better on a mannequin, so it's worth having.
You have size type here as juniors. I don't think that's juniors. It's oversized.
It's definitely oversized if it's an extra small.
So it's definitely, so that might be carried over from another listing, but that might hurt your search right there because people are looking for juniors. It's not a juniors, or they're not looking for juniors and they see that and they're going to think that the sizing is smaller when it's actually a larger size.
And then year manufactured, it's definitely older than 2000.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it's 80s,
90s or 80s.
Early 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. So. So that would be maybe another keyword is like 90s or late 80s, early 90s. And I think, let's see. So your bust is 52 inches. That is oversized for sure. So I would make note of that. I'd put that maybe even in the title, oversized. Really, that's more like an extra large or a large or extra large.
Yeah. So that surprised me because it's not just oversized. It's really big for an extra small. So, yeah, and you do say that in the description. I would maybe even put like extra small to large, or like one size fits most or something in the title, because even though that's not what the label says, that's going to be accurate for buyers.
Medium in the title, extra small on the tag.
Right. So it's a little
in the item specifics, and then it says that it fits more like a medium to a large in the description. So I'd be really confused about the size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Heather, actually I had to Google the designer because I was so intrigued by it. And it is a high-end finished designer. They closed. You have to look it up because I forget, but they did close, I think, maybe 10 years ago or something. So if there's fans of it, it's no longer made. So it seems like something that I definitely add like art to wear.
Art to wear. That's for sure.
I saw that on a lot of the other listings from this designer.
Does it look it's not really log and look.
It's not really log and look, but definitely art to wear.
Like a log and look would be, but I guess that's not really it. So yeah, I think those are good suggestions. I would say it should be also, if you don't sell on Depop, maybe this would be a good item to start selling on Depop with. Mm-hmm. This would be a great Depop item too.
Yeah, and then. What was it? Oh, sorry. A couple more keywords. I would add, shoulder pads, partial lining, just in the description. Make sure you have all of those. Also, if you want to flip forward a couple of photos, Nay, I just wanted to point something out on the inside. So see the seams here. This is called bias binding, and it's not necessarily a keyword that you want to include because it's not something people are going to look for. But if you see this on an item, it's a sign that it's a really well-made, high-quality item. So it can be a good key that you want to buy this if you find it in the thrift store.
Good tip. Great bonus tip.
And then I would put the bust measurement in the title for sure, especially if you're putting something like a range of sizes.
Yeah.
So people know what they're looking at.
And I don't know if I'd put medium in the title because it's not even like the sizing isn't really, it's more like a large or an extra large, even though it's an extra small. So
it's hard to,
what you might want to do is put extra small, oversized, 52-inch bust,
Yeah.
Take out like the word with, you can take, you can even handmade. I don't know if it's actually handmade. Oh, it is handmade in Finland. It says it right there. So, okay. that's fine. But
yeah. And Heather, I hope you don't feel like we're piling on you because there's
no. We're trying to help. It's
yeah,
a beautiful
and it's
market, and you have like great item specifics. You've got all the information. I think it's just a and I don't think your price is off.
Yeah, for sure. The price it also seems in line with the other listings. And then one more tiny thing, Nay, if you scroll down to the description. I just noticed that the text looks a little weird. It looks like maybe you copied and pasted it from another source. See how it has a very faint
highlights,
super small detail, but I would just fix that.
Yeah. It's like got the highlight. Yeah. Yep. But
such a great item though. So
it's a wonderful item. Yeah. So good luck. And I do notice, Heather, you're sending offers. So good job. I got an offer on it. It's her 74.34. So great job.
Oh, and then this is another item where the shipping comes up quite high.
Price a little bit since I was looking at it yesterday.
So again, on this one, and it's a heavy item, but I would figure out the shipping because $20 to ship this, especially because it's an expensive item.
Yeah.
Already. I might just, know that I'm going to eat the cost or eat half of that.
Well, you can even fit it into a medium flat rate, which is
probably, yeah.
I think that's like $15 or something. It's I forget what it is on eBay. It's like $13 or something.
Oh, or I just realized you said medium flat rate. I was thinking a padded flat rate envelope. It might.
Yeah, it might be a little too bulky. I'm thinking if it's too bulky for the padded flat rate,
definitely medium flat rate. Yeah.
Then you could fit it in a medium flat rate. So yeah, you could definitely get that shipping down. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so good luck. And then let's see, our next one is we have to pick up the pace a little bit on these. Mm-hmm. I want to give everybody a fair share, but okay. So I think this is Becky's listing. So she's got these stamps so I would say, first of all, you can remove of and in the title and maybe get in some other keywords like owl or skull, what the actual stamps are. There might be like an owl fanatic and you have
I would definitely focus on the content of the stamps. I wouldn't put Stampin' Up first because they're not all Stampin' Up stamps. I realize that most of them, I think like half of them are, but Stampin' Up is it's MLM that's like a direct sales company, and it's not the highest end brand of these. I think maybe Paper Sources, it's a bit nicer. So that wouldn't be the number one selling point here. I would just focus on I would focus on the designs and then include all of the brands in the description, which I did see that you had. I'd also put like mounted rubber stamp in the title because that generally signifies that it is a higher end quality stamp also.
Wood or wooden too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So mounted usually means on wood.
Okay.
Yeah. Versus there's acrylic stamps that don't have their own mounted block.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you might be able to get some. I don't know if you can get more brands in the item specifics somewhere.
Yeah, for the item specifics, I would stick with the one that's the majority. But again, just the title, I wouldn't start with it. Yeah.
Well, I think too, you might want to try cross posting on Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, overall, I think just those little tweaks. I don't think the price is bad. I think it's a pretty good price.
Yeah, I mean, like these are expensive. Ink pads are expensive, so definitely,
that's a pretty good deal.
This was quite a lot of money to spend on stamping materials. So people who stamp know that these things are expensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Chris has a good idea. Is just crop the.
Yeah, you can crop that a little because it's long and you want it square. Yeah, it would hone in on them a little bit better. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So I think overall, let's see. The next one is. This is Chris Coleman's listing. I saw Chris in the chat. Mm-hmm. So this is a costume. So. There's only 3 photos in there, so I would say you could definitely add a couple more photos. Like I want to really see that trim on the top. I want a close up of that. I want to see it. I want to kind of like, you can zoom in this way, but I think you should have like a nice zoomed in photo of that trim on the top and, you know, of the fabric a little bit more. I see that the label's been cut out, so there's no inside tags to put in, and that's understandable.
Yeah, I definitely, it's not easy to find more things to photograph, but it feels like there should be more photographs. So I would just try and get really creative and do a couple, you know, whatever you can manage to get some photos of. And then
sorry, I'm trying to, I hit that by accident. I was trying to get to the yeah, so let's see
like for the first photo, you might try and do a collage of like the full length of the dress, so you get a better idea of what the whole dress looks like, and then a little bit of a close-up of the trim. Just because if you do a full length, the downside is that there's a lot of white space, so that might help use up some of the white space and just kind of be a little bit more like drawing the eye if someone's skimming through listings.
Yeah,
I think you could. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think you could switch up the title. Maybe the keywords in the title seem like they're in a weird order. Like I usually put the size last.
Yeah.
Dress is probably not the first word you want to use, since it's not an everyday dress. It's like a Renaissance.
I would do Renaissance
dress. Yeah.
Costume dress, maybe. I think to the, so it says, it says 2 safety pins holding down collar in front. I would say that I would take a picture of that and show it.
Good point. Yeah.
If that's, and also the label tag has been cut off. If you have a remnant of the label in there that you can see that it's been cut off, I would show a picture of that too. So remember, you want to tell the story in pictures. So
very good point. Use square photos instead of rectangular, so you don't get that weird extra space.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I mean, I think medium. Let's see, measurements. Okay, so the measurements, I would say, instead of, I mean, you have all the measurements that you need, which is great. Underarm width, and I would just bust. You don't need that. You don't need underarm width because people are not going to necessarily know what that is. Technically, if you want to say like it's pit to pit or whatever.
Yeah, and the same with like shoulder to shoulder instead of shoulder width. I think.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder. I would say bust, and also double that, so you actually have a 35-inch bust there.
You do say lying flat though, so that's good. So it's clear what the measurement is. I tend to just leave my measurements in the half if I do it flat, but.
Yeah, I mean, waist width is 17. That's a 34-inch waist. I mean, so yeah, and then sleeve length. Where are you? This always drives me, like when I'm looking at things and they say sleeve length, I want to know, are they measuring from the shoulder seam, the nape of neck? Where are you measuring that from? I measure mine from the nape of neck, which is like the top of the top of where the collar is here.
Yeah,
to the sleeve. Yeah, you have the length. That's fine. So
it's great. You have the centimeters. That's helpful.
Yeah, I think your price is okay. $8.80 standard shipping. Yeah, I mean that's probably about. Yeah, so. I think
if you work on the title a little bit, I think that will help.
Especially you might want to add Halloween to title too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because especially now, take advantage of the fact that it is Halloween time coming up. So this is Chris's. I saw Chris in the chat there. There's Chris. So this is
such a great item.
Yeah. However, and this is and I don't know if you knew that this photo, the opening photo, is a little, it's fuzzy. So I think it's a great photo because you have the background cropped out and all, but for some reason it just came in a little out of focus. So I would try to take that photo and so that it's not a fuzzy photo. Like this.
The brick background, it's great. It's neutral, but I was almost wondering if that's how it ended up getting fuzzy. If your camera was trying to focus on the brick instead of the item. So it may be easier for you to take photos against a black or a blank backdrop instead, just to prevent that from happening in the future.
So you do have the interior tags, which is fantastic. that wool mark. So this is, I would say this is probably vintage 80s looking at that.
That was my guess also.
Made in USA. It's got that wool mark. It's got the paper tag. So those are all hints that it's 80s.
Your photos are great. It's just the one main.
Really just the lead photo. It's just for some reason the camera maybe it did focus on the background or whatever. And so it's fuzzy and you want that to be super crisp. Your other photos are super crisp. So I would just retake that. You've got a nice photo of the buttons, all the inside tags. I would maybe put vintage 80s in the title. Might be early 90s. I would say that's definitely 80s or early 90s. So, and you again, Poshmark just allowed more real estate for the title. So you can put Southwest in there. I know on one of the other platforms, I'll show those in a second, you had denim in there, which it's not denim, but it would go well with jeans. It's got that kind of
denim. That color.
Denim stripe. So yeah. You've got all the measurements that you need, which is great. I think your measurements are great. You've got all the information. So I think it's just, and I think your price is decent for what it is.
Oh yeah. And I looked up comps and it seemed like, your competition's right around the same price point. So I think you have it priced well. It's so beautiful. And thankfully it's fall again. So, this is the right season to sell it. Hopefully it'll move soon.
So I'm just going to show these briefly. So you have it cross-listed on eBay. And you do have more of a title now that Poshmark allows 80 characters in the title I would bring some of those keywords into Poshmark. You can take out those quotes on eBay.
Yeah. You don't need those extra characters.
Yeah. And then the same thing, you have it on Mercari. Again, with Mercari now you have some more characters to play with too. So, and I think same photos, same thing with, just your initial photo needs to be a little clearer. Do you, I would add 80s to the title. I would say vintage 80s.
Yeah, I don't think you need to change it. I would just add to it. Your eBay title is great, minus those quotes. I would remove those quotes.
Yeah, and I think you can add Southwest to this, to Mercari and Poshmark, and I would add 80s to all of them in the title. So, and you might want to even try this on Depop too, if you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, overall, I think it's just your initial photo and just adding to the keywords a little. And
then the only other thing I was going to mention is if you haven't already, I would hold it up to a light with a flashlight and just see if there's any points where the wool has been at all moth-eaten. It looks like it's in incredible condition. And if you really can verify that there's no moth damage or anything like that, highlight that in your description, because it's, usually buyers will be okay with a little bit of flaws in an item like this, but if it's pristine, then you want to highlight that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think that collar might be real suede?
Yeah, I was a little confused by your description. I would be shocked if it's not real leather or real suede, because the inside tag is real leather. So I don't know why they would use real leather on the outer.
Yeah.
So you could I think you can just call it suede. I don't think you have to qualify it.
Especially for Woolrick, that's a brand that I would say is,
it's a high end. Like the vintage Woolrick is pretty high end. Oh yeah, that did remind me one other thing. So I noticed on Mercari, it actually tells you being the buyer, when the listing was posted. So you may just want to, see where it says details, it's posted 12/15/19. You may just want to delete and relist so it seems a little bit fresher. I'm shocked it's taken 3 years.
Where is that? Oh, details. Oh yeah, it is. Wow, I never noticed that.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that either until I looked at this. So I probably have to do that for a couple. I don't have that much on Mercari. I keep meaning to add to it, but I think they're all kind of stale. So
you might want to delist and relist. So
exactly.
That's a good. I didn't notice that, Lola. Wow. Maybe that's why some of my Mercari stuff isn't selling, because I have not given Mercari attention, and some of my listings have been up since I started.
Yeah. Same. So I understand that it's still a little confusing. I'm trying to think of another way you might phrase it, like denim tone, denim shades, something denim like look, that. Denim look. Yeah.
Okay. But that makes
sense. Definitely I would if you don't have that very clearly in your listing, I would say, you know, carefully examined for moth damage and no damage found, something like that.
So this is Brian's listing, and
denim blue. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. So this is Brian's listing, and it is, so the first thing I noticed, especially on mobile, is that you can move the mug down a little so that it's not like so high, so that you can see the whole top of it. It's a little technical thing, but as a graphic designer, especially, like, it's just bothering my eye that it's
you want to have light space all around the item.
So I would center it in the spot.
Quick back to Chris's item. So the color it's named denim stripe.
Oh, well then
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would maybe use something like denim blue in the title, and then put in the description, you know, the color is named denim stripe. You know, say it more specifically, because it wasn't super clear. Yeah. But in the description, you have the room to explicitly explain that to the buyer. Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, so I would center this, Brian, in the and your photos are a little on the dark side. Like, you might want to try actually a dark background on this, since it's a light mug and it kind of blends into the background so that it really pops. You've got all the essentials there, but like, see how this photo is more centered in the box. I would definitely center them all more like that. So
it's such a fun, funky mug. Definitely a good item. I was a little surprised when I looked at the measurements and realized how small it is, because you don't really get that from the photo. It's harder to tell the scale.
So what you want is the ounces in the title.
Yeah.
You don't have the ounces anywhere. All you need to do is take a measuring cup with water and just fill it and see. I would estimate that this is probably about an 8-ounce mug. So from the description, so I would, people measure mugs in ounces rather. I mean, keep the measurements in there too, but I would put
right. Just have both.
Yeah. And you don't need the word tea necessarily. I think I usually put like coffee mug, cup. I usually do, because people.
That's good. Yeah.
I usually, I don't think you need the word tea in there.
Right, and I think it breaks up the phrase coffee mug. I think the algorithm's probably smart enough to still bring it up if someone searches coffee mug, but just in case. And then you also just want to remember that, like, the title will be read by a human, so coffee mug is a lot easier to understand than coffee tea mug. Especially if you're skimming quickly.
Yeah. Your shipping seems low too, I think. Although I don't know about Mercari's. I forget about the price points on Mercari.
Oh yeah, that's probably Mercari's too.
So it might be so I might be thinking in eBay terms. But I would just double check that to make sure that you're charging enough for it to go, because that's going to have to go priority. So I mean, it's a item on if you're going eBay, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, even if people drink tea, they're still going to probably call it or think of it as a coffee mug. So it's the search term.
Sure. Yeah, because most people are looking for a teacup if they're looking for tea. And I think you said that it's in the serving category.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, it can't hurt to have it in an extra category, but I don't think anyone's going to find it that way. So see where it says category. You just scroll past it. It's a little bit further up. Category, vintage and collectibles, serving, mug. So, you know, vintage and collectibles and mug makes sense, but serving, I'm not sure if that's helping.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. Yeah. I would also put Payo in the title. I see you have Russ and Wallace and Berry, but the company, and that's this, like, the manufacturing company, but the actual Smurf cartoon company is Payo, which is known to some collectors. So I would get that in there somewhere too. You'll see it in the little scripty font there. See right there that says Payo. So I would definitely.
It is funny to realize that, like, this was normal. But I think we all have a concept of what size a mug is nowadays. So it may be, you know, just not what people are expecting.
And you have vintage 1981. So I think everything else, I mean, I think your biggest thing is going to be to get those photos centered and on a darker background. And I think your price, you might even be able to bump it up to like 15 and then take an offer, because you have your ship. Just make sure you're charging enough for the shipping so that you're not like,
you're not losing money. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's it. And then we have one more of Brian. So this is last but not least. So I would say, Brian, on this one, that you don't have DVD in the title. I thought it was a book at first until I realized that it was a DVD.
Oh, wow. Good catch. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so you don't have DVD in the title. Now I know you've got it in the DVD category and all, but when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's a book. And then I realized it was a DVD. Add DVD to the title. You can take out the punctuation and any of the extra keywords like by and you might want to try patriotic or USA or United States.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is I would just try and think through like who's looking for this, what they would use it for.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be someone who's like homeschooling their kids.
Sure.
I just did a quick Google search. It looks like this is related to a textbook that's the same name. So it may be a very specific item that's only going to be useful to someone who's using the same textbook. So the price might be just a little high. Mm-hmm. I would double check that, but it looked really quickly. It looked like others were listed only at like $20. So that's a pretty big price difference. And then it looks like it is a middle school curriculum. So I would put that somewhere like middle school, middle grade. It looks like the back of the DVD has the phrase middle grade on it. So that, that seems like that's who it's used for. And then I had a little bit of a hard time reading the back. The photo was just a bit blurry, and then the photos are just a little blurry and dark. So I might take fresh photos for this.
Yeah, that's
you said make them square.
Yeah, that photo is pretty grainy.
Yeah.
So you want to actually be able to read the text on it, like when you zoom up on it. I've zoomed up too much. But like when you zoom up on that, you should be able to
read it really clearly so that Yeah, okay. So it's a little bit easier here, but when I was looking on mobile,
but when you're looking at the actual photo, yeah, you can see it. But I would get some clear, better lighting photos. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's nothing like it is what it is in this case, but you might want to just snap those again a little clearer. Your shipping looks good. Yeah, I mean, your price might maybe bump the price down a little. And homeschool is a good keyword.
It may have just, especially something like this, if it's no longer a more recent item, a more recent curriculum, then it's going to have a lower appeal, unfortunately. People are using newer editions or newer materials. But I mean, some people are still homeschooling their kids because of the pandemic, and there's always homeschoolers that always homeschool their kids. So, someone may be looking for, augmenting their U.S. history materials for homeschooling.
I would put U.S. or USA at least in there. U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I would focus on like homeschool curriculum or something.
I agree. I see where you're coming from. Yeah, I definitely agree. So so try that, and maybe even try crossing it on Mercari. And try.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck with that. And that is it. So I have some breaking thrifting news today is just that eBay is launching. They're doing something called an inside drop for sneaker enthusiasts. So what I'm gathering is that from the article, I found 2 articles on this. So it looks like people that are sellers, they're putting 25 pairs out there. And if you list sneakers for $100 or more, you can win one of these ultra rare pairs of sneakers. So it's kind of like a promotional thing.
That's super interesting. And it also seems like they're trying to appeal not to habitual sellers, but, to collectors who might buy on eBay and then want to part with an older pair to have money for a new one, something like that. So it's just interesting that they seem to be going after a slightly different group of sellers with this promotion.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're really on, like you said, they're on trends with, like the
very hot item.
What's selling and what's popular.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a good sign.
Yeah. And then we do have a market report for you today. So Lola, this is your sale. It will come up in a second. There we go.
Oh yeah. So I showed this item when we did our Kate Spade episode. This was a Kate Spade bag I found at the bin. So I paid almost nothing for it. And I did take a best offer of $40 plus shipping. and already got positive feedback from the buyer. So I was a little nervous just because this had a lot of wear, and since it was sold on eBay, obviously if they were unhappy with the condition at all, they could return it. But nope, they left positive feedback, and it was a great sale for, I mean, what, maybe paid $2 for this. So whatever it was, but by weight at the bin. So yeah.
Interesting. So
I find the Kate Spade bags really do hold their value, even if they have
definitely. And that's it. That looks like a gorgeous bag. I love the color too.
It's like a really nice size, really just classic. Yeah,
it's a great color for denim, and so yeah, great sale.
One of those bags that holds more than it looks like it should. So
definitely.
Yeah, and then this was another nice sale. Another item I took an offer, or no, sorry, this was I made an offer to Likers for $120. And then after fees and everything, I think I made $88 or something like that. And it is an item I bought on Shop Goodwill, so I paid up for it a little bit. I actually thought I might keep them for myself, and they just didn't fit me quite right, so I listed them, and I think I doubled my money. I think I paid around $40 for these, including all of the fees and shipping and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. And I have, so these, I've had so much trouble with my shipping lately because of the hurricane, we're still in a backlog here because my main hub shuttered because the building was condemned because the roof collapsed and it was flooded. So all my packages have been late. So I got a message from this buyer yesterday or the day before. It was like late the night before last. And she was like, I need these for Saturday. How fast can you ship them? And I was like, well, regular. So she already paid. So regular priority, I was like, well, everything is so slow right now because of the backlog. So I can't promise that you're going to get them by Saturday. So we went back and forth. It was like $50 to express them. So I was like, you can pay me the extra. No problem. I'll express them. She decided to take a chance at priority. So I'm crossing my fingers that they actually get there tomorrow.
Hope so.
So everything's been like really slow in this area. I'm in New Jersey. So.
Yeah, they're really beautiful shoes. And Cole Haan shoes are so nice. They're so wearable.
Gorgeous. Yeah, they are so pretty. So, and I've had them for a while too. So, they didn't have that much wear. They're just so pretty with the velvet.
Really classic.
Yeah. So these sold for the whole $49.99 I was asking for. She bought them and paid right away. And plus the shipping, I did undercharge the shipping a little. They went to California. I don't know. I must have not had calculated. Not a big deal because, I just eat the rest of it. But she paid $7.50 and it was like $11.69. I don't know what I did. That was my mess up. So I just, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's not that big of a deal. I guess if she does return them, you can relist and fix it. But hopefully she doesn't. Hopefully she got them.
Yeah, she was really nice. So I'm hoping that they get there on time for tomorrow. I'm crossing my fingers. They are moving. So.
Oh, good.
So. And then this I sold. I've had this listed forever too.
I remember that. That's so pretty.
Yeah. So this is what this was a Target collab, Peter Pilato for Target. That was a few years back, and it sold for $34.99 plus shipping. And then some of you asked, I got a cha-ching in the middle of the show last week, and I know you guys wanted to know what my cha-ching was. So this was my cha-ching from the middle of the show last week. I paid $1 for this. It was a Kirby's Exile. It was a Nintendo, but it's like a Nintendo cartoon that they did. And I sold it for $24.99 plus shipping, and I paid $1 for it. So that was my cha-ching from last week.
Very fun.
Yeah. And we do have the same question that we had last week. We just want to know if you've turned any of your duds into scores by making some listing changes. And if any of you were featured on our show and we critiqued your listings, please let us know if they sell.
Sure. And if you're watching this later and you have any feedback for the listings that we went over in the show, please give us your thoughts in the comments as well. So
yes. And you can find us everywhere. I'm Thrifty Name mostly. Lola is mostly Lola Run, except on eBay where we are Colbright *Dazzle and Low 2-5. Email us at nalothrifts@gmail.com if you have an idea for an upcoming video, if you want to be a future guest or anything else that you want to reach out to us about. Oh, Brian sent me a message. Yeah, I can show this real quick. Brian, I did find this. Okay, so he's breaking news for us. So yeah,
thank you, Brian. That is great.
Yeah, so Sears is apparently shuttering its last store in Illinois, its home state. So bye Sears. Yeah, Sears Robot Company is no more. So that might also lead to some liquidations in your areas in the thrift stores too. You know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it trickles. If you see any signs of it trickling down. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Sears is. Oh my gosh, it's not Worthington. That's JCPenney. I forget the brand. That's the Sears brand of the equivalent of that. Can't remember. I'll think of it as soon as the show is over. But anyway, that brand I'm sure might be something that people are actually looking for now in the thrifts. Because there are people that are dedicated to the brand. So yeah. So thanks for that, Brian. So okay.
See you all next week. Have a great weekend.
Yes. Bye.